Hey everybody, and welcome on back to Minecraft. Today we are taking a look at the oceans inside of Minecraft, and I want to go for the ultimate ocean survival base today, but with a slight of a twist to it. Today we're going to be looking at an ocean base of sort of a bunch of boats and rafts tied together to create like a post-apocalyptic ocean survival base where you'd be able to survive everywhere without going to land. There's going to be farming regions, there's going to be boats kind of everywhere with storing everything in it. And so to get ourselves started, I figured let's start with making a boat, because I feel like this is very much inspired by a movie. I'm blanking on the name of it. Maybe y'all can remind me in the comments below what it might be, but I feel like this is, or maybe the video game Raft, but I feel like there's a movie around this water world. Sounds right? I'm not really sure. But anyways, coming throughout here, we're starting off with a base of a boat design on this one. Just getting something in here. Boats are not my specialty, but I figure if I create the right shape of it and get this general kind of slight U shape to it, the curve right there, everything below the water really doesn't matter too much. I tend to make boats pretty low in the water, so it might need to be a block higher on this one, but I think overall it's going to be fine for the purpose of making this base. Anyways, it could add to the post-apocalyptic thing of things are starting to sink and these boats have holes in them and our base is really going down underwater. Coming in here, however, we're going to be building up the mast for this one, and the goal with these ones is, I would say, if you're trying to make a mast for a boat, is count about how many blocks long your boat is and then go roughly that same height into the air, and that's going to give you that good ratio that you normally see people doing. But on this one, I wanted to bring in that pattern of using the stripped oak logs and the smooth sandstone in there, just to get some extra bits of detail on this one. I thought it was a really cool one, and then of course using my colors of the light blue and orange, had to throw that at the top there. Underwater here, however, we are building up a little bit of a conduit. Maybe this is why the people decided to come and settle in this region around here. So we have a conduit down there. There's an ancient monument structure kind of holding it up. And to get some more animation into this build, I added a bunch of magma blocks for some bubble columns down there. So that's why there's not going to be a raft specifically over the conduit, because the magma blocks would be pulling us down underwater. But here I'm using this little bit of a pattern right now to get ourselves over there, using some jungle logs or jungle planks and spruce trapdoors and some barrels to make these kind of floating platforms. And we're coming over here and building up our second boat for the day. But I want to quickly say here, if y'all have been enjoying these time-lapse videos, please be sure to hit that like button down below. It means a heck of a lot to me. But anyways, back to our build here. We've got this nice little bit of a shape of a boat coming on. This one I want to make a little bit larger than the first one we did. So it's a whole block wider on each side. The first one was 5 blocks wide. This one is 7 blocks wide. And it's coming up much higher out of the ground. This is going to kind of be our bedroom and have some more storage space for ourselves underground. And we have a full area to actually create a doorway to walk inside. Fun fact on the small boat that we did there, as you'll see in our tour later, you actually have to crouch to be able to walk inside of it because the ceilings are so low. But I think with this boat here, one thing I would say I didn't like a whole lot was using those spruce logs along the front. I feel like if I had just changed those into some either stripped spruce logs or just spruce planks in general, I think it would have worked a bit better. But coming up over here and building the second mast, because that boat was so much larger, the mast is going to be about that much taller. So, and then this one, I want to just have a bit of variety to how we're doing these, making it look like they kind of scavenge boats from wherever they could find them, whatever boats hadn't sunk down yet or whatever they can make. So this one is a totally different structure for the mast shape itself, as kind of being a different boat. Coming down here, I want to throw in a bedroom, and you know, me being me, I like having a type of aquarium in the bedrooms in these builds. So I decided, you know, in this case, let's just throw a bunch of glass down there in the base and the water can kind of just be everywhere. The ocean is our little mini aquarium. I didn't really add many fishies in there because I thought they would swim away, but that's totally fine with me. Coming over here, we are building up a little bit more of this rampart raft walkway area to get over to this side where we're going to be building a few farming things. So in this place, we're going to have some wheat seeds in here, just to have your first initial food source of getting a bunch of bread. And I wanted to really make these areas look like they're being held up by some sort of like air bubble pocket. And the best thing I could think of was barrels. I didn't really know how else to do that one, but if y'all have any ideas on that, be sure to let me know. But now we've got a little bit of a carrot field in here as well. Then coming over here, I figured we needed a place to have some trees growing up and kind of doing all that nice stuff inside of here. I figured dark oak saplings would be kind of a cool element to add in here because they weren't quite in the game to be able to grow with a single sapling. So it's going to look like we're trying to do something, but it's not really working. And then I figured it looked better for the whole scheme of the build instead of having a giant tree right there. Coming over on this side though, I want to build like a bit of like almost like a river pontoon boat of sorts, so it's much flatter and wider, almost like a barge, I guess, as well could be a good example. For this one, this is going to be kind of another place where we can have a bunch of food options, everything along there, so it's just barely sticking out of the water. And then we're going to build like a little bit of a rafter structure on top of it and just cover it completely with jungle leaves in here, because they kind of look like fruit, a little bit of fruit hanging down from the leaves and everything. Now I figured we need to get our last crop in here of all of the useful crops and get some potatoes on that side. So we're going to be adding some potatoes on both ends of there, and then a few composters in there so we can take all the extra stuff and turn it into some bone meal to help grow everything that we currently have. I figure that's pretty much everything we would need in general for a survival base. The one thing I did not add in here was animals. I figured animals would be another mouth to feed type thing, so it didn't make quite too much sense to me to have those inside of the build for this one. And then to add to our post-apocalyptic thing, I wanted to come over here and experiment a little bit. I recently was on Instagram and saw a post by LonLon700 where they were building this awesome giant ruined gear. It was so cool. And so I was like, well, I've been really thinking about doing post-apocalyptic stuff, maybe a wasteland of sorts. And so I wanted to take a first attempt at doing that here in this creative time lapse, because I thought it'd be really cool. So coming over here, I was just messing with a bunch of andesite, just getting the general shape in here. This is supposed to look pretty ruined, so I didn't want the shape to be perfect. I wasn't trying to smooth anything out. I was just trying to make something look ruined in here. So for this one, I started with that central gear circle, and then outside of that had a few arms that were reaching out, grabbing onto this larger circle. I felt like that was pretty good. And then I came through with a bunch of slabs and stairs and just kind of smoothed it out and smoothed and roughened up different parts of it. Then added these large spokes to the full outside of the gear, very much inspired by what LonLon was doing, but I thought it was such a cool idea of just something to build into the backdrop of your Minecraft world. That's something that I've been really trying to focus on and learn from recently, is not every build you make needs to be functional. It's something I heard Pixlers talk about a long time ago on his survival guide series, where sometimes you just build something in the background like this giant gear that's just gonna have people asking questions of why is that there. You don't really explain it, you don't really add much to it. It's just kind of something there that adds to the story of your world without you having to physically write something down or tell somebody what it means. It just gets people questioning and asking things, because right now if we look at our boat raft area, it looks like somebody's just on a raft out in the middle and not wanting to go to land. But if we were to add a bunch of those gears back there, that would really make it set the scene of like, this could be post-apocalyptic. Everything's kind of overgrown and disgusting and kind of gross and broken down. So if y'all have any ideas on things or stuff like that that you would add into your own Minecraft world, if you're trying to make things look more ruined or trying to sell an atmosphere or a story, let me know down in the comments below. I'm really curious to hear what you all have to say on those ones. But that's going to do it for the build for today. Let's jump into a little bit of a first-person tour here. And there we have it, folks. I hope y'all enjoy the time lapse of this build. I absolutely love this kind of wasteland environment, almost of a floating village survival base of sorts, which would be like post-apocalyptic, with our giant ruined gear in the back over there, which is just so very cool. Again, thank you to LonLon700 on Instagram for the idea for that one. It was very cool. I can't wait to build things like that on the source block server in the industrial wasteland. I think that's gonna be very cool to do. But I wanted to give a quick tour around here. So we got this nice little place where you could grow some trees. I threw dark oak saplings in here so that it couldn't realistically grow up for right now, because I felt like it looked better without having a full tree right up in here. Then over on this side, we got a little bit of patch for carrots. I added in a water source here in the center, so it's hydrated all around, so you can have those. And then we got some wheat up here with its own little water source alongside of that one. Then coming back in here, we got these jungle trees, or jungle leaves, which they always look like they have a little bit of fruit in them. So added those back in here to make it seem like there's something going on with it. You could grab some fruit off of the trees and everything. Not realistically in Minecraft. Maybe keep breaking them for apples or put oak leaves up there. I'm not sure. But anyways, over here, we've got a few little potato guys on that side. We got some more potatoes on that side. And then I also added in some sugar cane right back in here so you can get your paper and all of that stuff that you might ever need. The one thing that I didn't include in this build, however, was I didn't include any animals, because I figured it's a kind of survivalist based theme of sorts, and having extra mouths to feed, probably not the best idea. But what I did include in the end is I added these barrels kind of floating around attached to some iron bars, almost looking like a crab pot of sorts. What we could use instead, which almost slightly more crab potty textured, is using one of these guys. A little note block kind of looks like that. Or what you can also do is we can very quickly here take the acacia trapdoors, and just for the sake of this example, let's go ahead and do acacia trapdoor. Wow, that guy grew up really fast. Acacia trapdoor right there, and then you kind of surround this whole thing with them. And then we create a little bit of like a pot. I know this realistically isn't a good place for a crab pot because, you know, crabs usually aren't swimming this high on the surface. But something like that could be a cool little way of catching some fish, put some bait inside of it and everything like that. I thought it was a very cool little design. Used that one in the past a few times. Then over here on this big boat, which is our bedroom, and it has a little bit of a nether wart farm in it now. Coming to the inside up top, I figured we needed a cartography table because, you know, you got to be able to track where you are. Then coming down here, we got a brewing stand and just some plants around here. Maybe they're trying to preserve the jungle saplings. These are the last saplings of your entire world. We got our bedroom down here with a few more flowers and things. Another ender chest inside of that one. And then over on the other boat, we've got some more storage up on the top here, which I felt like was a good spot for it. Up here, we've got a few furnaces and a blast furnace cooking away and churning out a bunch of smoke up there. Then come down here, you kind of got to crouch to get inside of this one. Ender chest, 2 barrels. Down here, we got some more storage room as well. This is all mob proof, so it's okay being a little dark. I think this is actually the only block things can spawn on. So not quite mob proof, I guess. Carpet. There we go. Mob proof. Then you crouch, get yourself back out of there, and that is kind of everything as far as this base goes over here. Oh, also we got a conduit with a cool little ruin structure down here underneath it. A bunch of magma blocks around it to get some bubbles going. Thought it was very, very cool, and kind of maybe that's why they settled into this region. But coming over here to our big gear wheel, we can jump in our boat and float on all over this way, row ourselves across the lake. I figured this ancient gear could be something that you could dot a bunch of them along this area and just make it look super ruined, like there's some giant machines or something that ruin civilization and cause people to go and live out on the boats. But I figured something we can go along with that one is we have a nether portal hidden back in here. But anyways, folks, that's going to have to do it for today's episode. Thank you all so very much for checking out this time lapse here. I would love it if you would take the time to scroll down and click that like button for me. I appreciate all of the support you all show me. Anyways, hit that subscribe button if you are brand new, and I will catch you on the flip side.